their own reach, I think will be very, very helpful, especially to the people that don't have access or will not be having access, and then using it as a platform as well to share the word of God, and as well as to bring people back to the issues that really matter in terms of health, what they can do to avoid being sick in the first place, and not being able to access the formal channels of the hospitals and stuff. So I think it's quite interesting. And also the issue where you're talking about countrywide coordination and cooperation. And I think it's high time that people start coordinating, because there's lots of small islands and silos, and people need to start working together. And once we stand united, I think we can accomplish more. So it's quite a good thing. And what you spoke about, starting small, I know people get excited with numbers, but what I've noticed with numbers is when you want to do an action-packed agenda, you'd rather start with a small core group that anyone or everyone on the group has a role to play. And if you're going to have, I would like to call them the mixed multitude, when so many people come on board, it's easier for people to get into an organized something than to start trying to organize 100 people. So I think it's actually a good strategy to start small and expand, and also to do a quick work, like was said, because the time is not on our side. And as we look into this whole COVID thing, there's a lot of issues that are coming up, and I don't think life will be back to normal as we would want it to be. So this is really a relevant and very timely work that you have on your hands, and I think it's a good one. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for that. I think you said very, very nice words, and affirming words on whatever that we started and tried to start. It's not an easy thing to come up with something like this. Is especially among so many people. It's not an easy thing. We need to pray. I think it's a lot of prayer to start it. It's going to be a mouthful. It's going to be not that easy to do. But if we pray and have faith and believe that we are doing something good, at the end we'll be successful. But I think it's a calling for this time. We have no any other calling, as Refule, as Rejoice has actually said. Can I give you Ronia as well? Ronia. Okay. Yeah. I want because I mean so many words have been said already affirming the agenda. Okay, Ronia is just left. So many words have been said concerning the agenda. I think for us now, perhaps I will try and tackle the one for training. And remember, I'm just facilitating. I'm no way a training expert. And perhaps due to the time limits that we have made on all the things at the end, maybe whatever that we introduction itself basically was the aim of this meeting, so that we can have now a core group that will meet and have a plan and a strategy to move forward. I will. Can I give it to you, Viseka, if you will? If Viseka is on mute, Sibulele has just left also. Andile? Doesn't look like you even have the mic there. Okay, yeah, I think therefore Chapala, I just want to give everybody comments and see if there's anything to add. If there's nothing, then we can continue. Okay, then I think without wasting further time, I will share my screen on what I was sent by one of the training providers. I think he's a president for, I think, medical missionary work in Southern Africa. Maybe many of you would know him. I'm not quite sure, but his name is Dr. Pettington. I just want to actually share whatever that he has sent me. Okay. Okay. I'm just searching. Can you hear whatever that I'm displaying? Is it visible on your side?
Yes, it is.
Training topics, it's
visible. Yes, thanks. This is what I was by Dr. Pettington about the topics, training topics that they have when it comes to
It has gone quiet on my side. Can anyone else hear anything?
I can't hear nothing. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks.
Better than before.
Hi, are we still on?
Sure whether, yeah, I got cut off. Sorry for that. I got cut off. I came back. So the question was, how do we then take this information to the people? The reason why, in fact, that I call this meeting is to ensure that is to ask that question. What are the strategies that we have that we can use to take this message to the people? And maybe I'm starting with the last thing. Maybe the question is, how do we set up a countrywide body where there's a website, where there is a central point, and where people can get an access to the information and request training and so on. I don't know. So on this one, I'm myself, I'm not even gonna lie to say I know how to start. I have no idea. All I know is we need to do something. We've got the information, we've got the trainers, luckily. How do we take now the information from the trainers to the people? Especially during COVID, because I mean, we might wait, because a lot of people are waiting to say, we'll wait until this COVID thing and restriction go away, and they're not gonna go. They might not go away now. And I don't see anything from the Word of God that says we must wait before we work until the conditions are better. In fact, we are told that we will work in the most trying conditions. So basically, the question is, can we come up with ideas? And I will dot them down. And also I will state mine, of which it is going to be the only idea. I'll dot them down and state mine. I don't know how do we start then. You will suggest whether we start on ensuring that there's a coordination first, and then that coordinated body then disseminates the training, or we start with the training or whatever. So I think let's plan it ourselves. I mean, I just put everything there, but I was not saying this is how we're gonna be starting. Jason, I see your hand.
All right. Again, good afternoon for those who have just joined. One thing I on the agenda, I just thought about it. My brother.
Yeah.
Legalities. One of the challenges that we will be faced with is the legalities. Yes, you have a lot of training, not only in South Africa, but worldwide. You have a lot of people saying, oh, well, we're medical missionary. And that's all good and fine and dandy. But when you start dealing with the public, when you start dealing with the individuals, then you're stepping into a different zone in terms of legalities, because there in the Constitution there are things and laws that govern such things, and if your training is not according to what's in the Constitution, then you are going to run into legalities issues of how you operate. So the legalities is very important. I don't see it much on much people's training. When they're doing their outline of training, yes, you see the topics of what they'll talk about: diabetes, spirituality, and so on and so forth, digestion, but legality. So folks, literally, they're trained, and then they want to go out and work, but then they are always on the other side of the law because they haven't really bridged that gap of legality in regards to their training and also service in the community. So legality is a very important one, though it's not on the agenda. It is very, very important.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. I think that's a critical one, because if we are not legal, there's no way that we can be able to operate. I mean, we'll always have challenges with the laws. Is there any? Okay.
Just before you move on, I wanted to just finish up this. Remember, a good case to look at, or case study, is look at Barbara O'Neill. Worked many years with the church, doing presentations. Church, the church accept her. People used to be sent even from churches, conferences to her wellness institute down there. But the minute she crossed the law, got involved, the church left her alone, and then she had to fight the battle on her own. Yes, individuals in the church supported her, but the body they make it very clear that this is not them. Yet when she was working, they were supporting it. But the minute she crossed legality line, the church kind of made it very clear there's a distinct line between us and her. So she had to stand on her own. Now we can learn from that and bridge that gap. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for that. I think, is there any then legal framework? Maybe we'll ask you or one of our legal friends to guide us on that one, because I mean, there's so many organizations that are running now. I mean, is there any legal framework that we need to comply with to do the medical missionary and the training and all that? What are the legal things that we need to comply, especially in South Africa?
All right, look, in America and in England, there's training you can do. All right. Now you got institution like Wildwood and Utripine in the US. They offer, those are educational institution in regards to health. They offer a level of training where you can get qualifications that is recognized by the country, by the Constitution and the laws therein. So when you finish studies, you can actually go and work and register as a whatever. Now, that's one thing. In South Africa, you don't really have that. However, the Constitution does make provision for such, as you know. In the African continent, alternative approach to health is nothing new. Without creating the imbalanced picture, let me try and see if I can get this across. My colleague, Dr. Komoto, will help me, I'm sure. There is framework which we can work, but because of the systems in place outside of Adventism, as well as within Adventism, the way how we have been educated, we have been taken away from what the Constitution says. What do I mean? You have bodies like, you have Alliance Health, you have traditional health or traditional alliances and stuff like that. Now, those two give you legal room to work. The Alliance Health, however, is like an alternative body that deals with health. So you have to go and study naturopathic medicine or something like that to be registered with them. However, the traditional alliance, which is where you find traditional healers, they work under that concept, they work within that framework. You see, the education that has been passed down to our church is that they have demonized the traditional way of doing things. So because they have associated spirituality in the dark way with the traditional healing, the church don't use that. But if you understand the law of the country, it doesn't mean that you have to be practicing witchcraft. But that law is the South African way that allows you to practice within the framework of the country, within the Constitution, yet you have not gone through the studies of the world, but you can still practice and you can still meet people under that Constitution. Dr. Komoso will help me to explain a little bit more. Doc, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. And thanks, Jay. That's actually a very important point because I work with Jason, by the way. Because if you're going to go train people, I know Dr. P, I know the medical missionary movement. A lot of people are trained, but when it comes to actually doing the work, they feel, in what capacity am I doing the work now? That's the legalities that Jason is talking about. Now, there are 3 ways you can practice medicine in accordance with the Constitution. Well, not more than that, but to be legal. So I'm a trained medical doctor, so I can use my practice number, but that's going to take about 7 years of training. And like we said, we don't have time. Then there's the allied, which is where the physiotherapist and all the alternative medical practices lie, that also requires training. So those of us who belong to either one of the categories can use our qualification in going out to treat people and meet them where they are, use the health message, and then after that, you spread in the gospel. Now, the great body of medical missionaries are people who are not within the health space. But what we did find was that legally, the Constitution says you can practice health in accordance with your religious beliefs, your personal beliefs, and your cultural beliefs. Okay. Now, Adventists cannot use the religious beliefs because the church, like we have seen, the organized church will not come and say, yes, this is how we practice health, because that's a very huge risk. If somebody dies in the hospital setting, me as a doctor, I will be covered under, I'm a medical doctor, and either it will be negligence or it will be error or whatever, but I will kind of be covered. What happens if a medical missionary, under their care, a person dies, and people die all the time? Then they're going to say, I'm practicing in according with my religious beliefs. Now, then the church is going to have to say, we don't know this. So that person, people feel they are not covered. Now, legally, what you do is, that's why there's the traditional alliance. What a person does is they register and say, I'm going to practice health and the healing arts, whether in according with your personal beliefs or you're trained by somebody, like, but when Abantu Baya Twasa, when they're trained by somebody. So we become the trainers, we pass on the knowledge of the health principles to your general medical missionaries. They can put themselves under the category of traditional healers. Now, traditional healers is not defined to sangomas and herbalists. It's so that these people can practice legally. So then when you're asked, how are you practicing? You're able to say, I'm practicing in accordance with these beliefs and these principles. And you're able to show the material according to which you're working, and you are registered with a body. The body does not require to train you. It just says this person is also allowed, as per the Constitution, to practice. Now, what that means is when you then present to, when you start meeting people, so let's say you're registered, let's say I'm not a doctor, I'm registered now with the Traditional Alliance. So now I go out into the community and I go visit my neighbor. And so I will be able to say to them, or if they come to me, if I've created a center, I will be able to have a document, a legal document that says, you understand that I am not a trained medical doctor and I'm not trained. I am practicing these health principles in accordance with my beliefs, and they are welcome to have a look. So you share your knowledge of health and practices, and then the people will be able to consent that they are going to be treated accordingly. Does that make sense? So then you, as a medical missionary, you are protected from a legal perspective, and then you get to practice health in accordance. Now, we're coming together and we're organizing. So we will be then able as a body here to say, we have training. The people we have trained, we continue to support, so that then they will come to us and say, you know what, I'm helping this person and I'm seeing this and this and this and this and that. So then that person, that medical missionary, will be able to say, and even then, I don't work alone. I work with this organization that also helps me with my training. And I mean, our material, it can be proven on a scientific basis. And now that's what I think Dr. P with the medical missionary movement aims to do. Then you have a group of doctors or professionals or people with experience who would then be able to come up and say, yes, how this person was practicing is in accordance with the principles. I hope that kind of makes sense. Because that's why I'm finding that missionaries are not going out to practice. They're like, in what capacity? Because the church is not going to come and protect me. And we saw that very clearly with Barbara O'Neill.
Okay. Yeah, that was a critical and a very important addition to this. So are you then telling us that there is a way around it, these legalities? We can actually practice, but we have to register with the organization Traditional Healers.
Yes.
And not traditional healers as witch doctors, but traditional medicines.
Yes, there is a way. Yes, there is a way. You know what? I think, me and Doc here, we're not popular on the training level, but obviously we do training, and we do very deep training, as a matter of fact. And coming out of this, I'm gonna say this. This is what we're gonna do for our next training. We're gonna add to our curriculum Romans 12 verses 1 and 2. Mainly 2, be not transformed to this world. The reason why I'm saying that is this. You see, you've been hearing, and look, I know there's certain individual within the Adventist faith, they really are trying to push this thing about colonialism and into our Adventist thing. And all right, whilst there is element of truth there, what I want to pick out from that at this point is this: there need to be a mind shift. There need to be some paradigm shift in how the mind of the people are working. Because, listen carefully, you see, if you understand the Adventist health message, it says we must go back to basic. We must watch what we eat natural, and then when you understand how are we supposed to practice the healing heart, is using things from nature. Herbs is one of the inspiration says, when we understand how to use these herbs properly, we will not need to be going so much to the doctors of the world. Now, once you understand that, what is happening is that the people, our people, the ones who we train, we need to come up with a strong curriculum, Doc, that can break down historically how we got to where we are, in looking down at traditional healer, because that is it. That's where we are looking down at this thing, not realizing, no, Satan has captured it because we left it alone, because we were educated that it was wrong. Because we were educated that it was against God's principle, we left it and moved over to a Western model. Now, inspiration is saying blatantly, no, the Western model is not the ideal way in which we are going. We are going back to the traditional way. But because of the education that we have been given within the church and outside the church, as a matter of fact, in regards to the African way of doing things, the traditional way of doing things, the alternative ways of doing things, because we have pushed it away in dark spirituality, we need to do a work around that to educate people so they stop looking down at it and give it validity according to what the Lord had in mind.
Yeah. Well, if it's an issue only for looking down, that can be dealt with. It's not an issue. But what I was worried about it was the legalities. When if it's looking down, they would see clearly that we are not witch doctors at all. We're actually coming from the church side. But as long as we are clear when it comes to legalities, then we should be fine in running. Whether people now are going to accept our way and say we are witch doctors, that's something that we can deal with. But when we talk about now the issues of legalities, getting people arrested and so on because they broke the law, that's not what we want. So I think I am happy that there's a way around it. We just need to decide as a body to say we're going to go through this type of registration. And then so that whenever we train, we are trained and we are allowed to train people and touch people. Okay. Can I take you, Edward Moyo, then Louisa?
Okay. I just want to add on the legality part. When I'm one of the people who have gone through training with Dr. Partington, that was like 2 years back, and from they explained this situation to us. They explained that once you become a medical missionary, you are not a doctor, you are not a health professional. You should never claim to be a health professional. You should never prescribe any medicine. You should never act as a doctor. You should be someone who is promoting health. Apparently, it's allowed to educate people about health. Even in hospitals, you can actually go in there and promote health, the drinking of water, the New Start principles. That is allowed to be done because you are not prescribing any medication. So in South Africa, to be mostly organizations that do things that benefit the community, they are called NPOs, non-profit organization. Once you register an NPO and then you state under the CIPC Act that your NPO, what will your NPO be doing? It will be promoting health. It will be teaching people, educating people about health. There are even days in the South African calendar about there is World Tobacco Day. There is different days that you are allowed to participate in, as long as you are an NPO that is there to promote health education. So you are not really trying to enter into space of being a medical professional, because once you do that, you need to register with HP, is it Health Professions Council of South Africa? So that one is a non-starter. And then the traditional route, I hear, yes, we can go that route. But the one challenge that we're gonna have, traditional healers are accredited by it's part of, actually it's in the act that they are accredited by the Traditional Healers Association. That I don't know the name really. So to claim to be part, they've monopolized that section of the constitution. They are now the authority. I think they also, there in parliament, there's a National Council of Provinces, and then there are chiefs there, there are traditional people there. There's a lot of monitoring of traditional healers, and they don't just accept anyone to come and say, I'm part of this traditional healers, without them approving it, without them evaluating you and checking, okay, are you really a traditional healer? That will be a bit of a challenge, because they are guarding that. It's an advantage to them, and they are guarding that section of the constitution closely, and they monitor, they make sure that no one can just claim. I remember, like a few days ago, I was watching a program on TV, and then someone was claiming to be a traditional healer, and the crew, the TV crew that went, that was approached by someone who was complaining that they went to a traditional healer, and that traditional healer did not do what was supposed to be done. The crew contacted the official body of the traditional healers, and they took them to that person to say, I need to see your accreditation. Did you go through all our systems? Did you get the education from the traditional healers to show that you are now a qualified traditional healers? So they've made the traditional healing as if it's a process that health professionals go through. There is now official documentation. If you are not part of that body, if you are not accredited by the traditional healers, they are going to take action against you for pretending to be a traditional healer, while you have not gone through the processes, their processes, to check whether you are really a traditional healer. But the other thing that I need to add is that, you know, in South Africa, there is this strange situation. I see Pentecostal churches, they even charge people thousands of rands for healing. They are not apologetic about it. They are not pretending. They just tell you that if you pay 10,000 or whatever, 20,000, I will heal you in the name of Jesus. It's not something that they are restricted from doing. They are free to practice it. So I don't understand why the Adventist church is reserved about that, or are we scared of doing the same? Where is that fear coming from? Where is that freedom? Because they take it from the fact that you have freedom of religion. If you tell someone that I'm going to heal you in the name of Jesus Christ, you are doing that based on the section of the constitution of the country that says we have freedom of religion. I remember a few years ago, there's someone who actually died at the showgrounds, at the Bushiri showgrounds. And then those people who died were quickly taken to the mortuary. And then when the church was being investigated, it stood behind the religious, the freedom of religion defense. They were not convicted. They were not, even right now as we speak, there are hearings taking place with the Council for Religious Liberties. There's a council that is actually that is meant to police all this, and all people go there and stand behind the freedom of religion defense. Even if they are being sued, they are being arrested, they are telling the official government department people that we have freedom of religion. So if I was healing in the name of Jesus, I was using the section of the constitution that talks about the freedom of religion. So I am not shooting down the traditional route. I'm just also highlighting the part that says pretending to be a traditional healer has its own challenges also, because it has been monopolized, and I know it should not be monopolized by the traditional healers, but they've monopolized, they've taken it, and they now own it. They say, this is ours. No one can practice without our approval. So this is the parts that my recommendation was, an NPO that is formed officially under the Constitution to promote health education without there is no requirement for you to say that promoting health, telling people, like even if you are presenting the principles of health, 8 hours of sleep, all those things, do they require anyone to be accredited with anyone? It's just educational information. The challenge, the thing that we were told by Dr. Partington is that the challenge is now when we start to prescribe medication for people. If we start saying you to take this, don't take that, but if you were to say to someone, eat this and eat that, you are not prescribing medication. What we use, even the herbs, even the food that we tell people to eat, the water, those are not medications. Those are just normal everyday things that you can give to anyone, that people are, the government is actually doing the same. It's promoting people to eat healthy. It's promoting people to drink water. It's actually doing those things. So my suggestion was on the part of an NPO that will be formed to just promote education. This is my take.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think I'll give it to Louisa and go back to Jason, just to comment on that.
Yeah, all
Louisa?
right. Yes, I'm just adding to what he said. I hear you. Look, a person can use multiple ways. Formulating an NPO, then you'll be able to run an organization that can do educational processes. For some people, they need to be self-supporting, so they need to be able to charge. And like we said, of the official statement of the Adventist Church is that it will not affect anybody who does this. So it becomes difficult to use your religious, because they will ask you which religion do you belong to, and you're going to say the Adventist Church, and then that is not what it stands for. The church will not be there to back you up, like we said when you look at in Australia at Barbara O'Neill. But he's right, you are able to register either a business, so you can have a business, a health coach business, if you're only going to teach principles, and especially if you want a self-sustaining work, because remember, a lot of organizations got closed down with the lockdown. So we also want to ensure that even during the lockdown, the people who are trained are able to continue practicing. Traditional healers were allowed to, the 3 categories that I mentioned were allowed to continue practicing. And then the other thing is, we need to look, there are people who would not want to register a business, because that in itself becomes cumbersome. So they become sole proprietors. So they would need something else that governs them. If they don't want to go the traditional healers route, a person can actually do an unassociated organization, which means they create their own constitution, and therefore they will be governed by that constitution. But what's more important is to ensure that the people you treat, you see, teaching health principles is easy, because a lot of them are acceptable. But when you then come and you are seeing a diabetic patient in front of you, and they are on metformin, they're on medication according to the traditional conventional medicine, and you're coming in as a medical missionary and you're saying, use this herb, eat this food, which will be contrary to what the doctor would have said, then what are you practicing under? And that's why you see a traditional healer would be able to do that and say that it is in accordance to how they understand things. So as an NPO, you will be saying, when you put that patient on it, because remember, you will prescribe to a patient, they'll go home. Now, you're not a trained medical doctor, so they're changing their lifestyle and they're off the medication. The doctor said they must eat 6 times a day. You as a medical missionary, you're saying they must eat 2 meals a day. Already now there's a conflict. The war is going to happen. What we're trying to do is, because we know the enemy is going to be against us, he's not against the Pentecostals, because they're not giving true ways of healing. He's going to come against us. We're trying to plug the holes that we have seen even for people who are experienced as Barbara O'Neill, it was a technical issue that she was caught on. And that's what made us, just kind of wake up. We just want to make sure that those parts are plugged in. And that's what I'm saying. I have been part of a medical missionary movement, but a lot of the people we have trained are not practicing because they don't know practically how they're going to go about doing that. And when the lockdown comes, they don't know how they're going to continue going out and meeting the people in the communities. Gospel workers, it's easy for them to go because they're teaching health principles. Now there needs to come a point where you actually start telling people, because they're not going to the hospitals, that use the teas, do this treatment, do that treatment. And if you're legally protected in one way or another, that was just one other method. Some people are just going to go into food and sell your smoothies and things like that. And it's easy when you're dealing with healthy people. But when you're dealing with people who have been diagnosed and are under a doctor's treatment and you offer conflicting information, then that's where you meet all these legal issues. And a person needs to know what it is they're standing on. And I think that's the thing we're trying to plug. And the reason, sorry, just one last point, we're taking so long is, I've been in the faith for about 6 years now. We've trained a lot of people. They're not doing the work. You know why? Because this issue of legalities is stopping them. And so I don't want to, even with the pastors, I don't want to go and train them, and then they're not going to know how to move forward. Considering they'll be like, but I'm not a doctor, and I don't have this. Under what capacity am I doing this? And since the church or the official church body is not going to back me up, we need to find a way to help each individual person to know what options are available on the table.
Sure. Yeah. I think, thank you very much. I think we will have patience on this one. And perhaps because we've got lawyers and we've got advocates and all that, maybe this is an assignment that we need to give to them. Just and give us a legal explanation or a legal rundown of how we can move on legally with whatever that we're trying to do. So thank God that it was raised early on, so that we can tackle it almost immediately. I mean, there's a couple of lawyers in the church that I know that will be able to tackle and take it. Then can I give you Jason before Joyce?
Yeah.
To end.
Yes. Sorry, my hands touched the camera there. Listen, I think it's been pretty much presented by made clear by Dr. Komoso. Look, this is something I want to share. As Ventis, I want to share this with you. You have what you call medical missionary evangelists, and then you have what you call medical missionary practitioners. They're different.
Yeah.
A lot of time that's not even defined in the training at all. Now, a lot of people who are medical missionary evangelists end up being medical missionary practitioners, not realizing what they're doing. You understand? Now, remember, myself and Dr. Komoso, we're talking from experience in this work. We're not talking from a mere sense of book knowledge. The minute, as Dr. said, the minute you said to somebody who is on medical, take this, that could be used against you. It's that simple. The minute you cross that line, it could be used because they are already under doctor's supervision. Now, you can educate them and you can teach them, but the minute you say, use this here, and a lot of medical missionary does that. We have had people who's come here who have told us, we have been instructed, they've showed us the piece of paper that the medical missionary have written to them. This is what we have been told to use and to not use. And we're looking at it and thinking, well, if this person, something happened, this goes, they're going to use that against you. Now, on your agenda, I see that you got Sanitarium and Center. We have a center. We have a center here. Now, we class ourselves as medical missionaries, but we have a center. Now there's legalities in how we do things here. If somebody was to get sick or whilst come here or somebody get worse, we have to make sure we protect. Luckily, how our layout is, we do have a medical doctor on site. So we have a way how we work within this system. A lot of medical missionaries won't be able to do that. And we're saying the health message from the Adventist perspective doesn't stop in teaching people the 8 laws of health. As a matter of fact, that's where it begins. When you understand the full context of where this work is going, especially in the time of not buying and selling. You understand what the work, the inspiration says, there will be no work done in the ministerial line except medical missionary. When you understand what that means in context of what is coming and where we are right now, you will understand what we're saying. We better find a way how to be able to tell somebody to use this and use that and know that it is well within an acceptable way to the law, because it can be used against you.
All right. Refilwe, you were, I see your hand is now down.
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on what Edward, Doc, and Jason have contributed. Is it possible, because it's also on the agenda, that you were talking about a national body, that we, or whatever we are trying to do, or the training falls under a national body, or we register a national body? Can we then get around the legalities as a body where people are trained under that body, and that body then gives certification for people to practice, but within the curricula, these differences, or this is emphasized, because exactly like what the doc has said, the Pentecostals get away with it because spiritually, I mean, that's the whole difference with the Adventist thing, is it's not just healing people, it's linked to the spiritual aspects of it. And because those are already operating within the enemy's camp, there is nothing that goes against them. They will succeed. But because this is in line with God's principle, it will definitely be challenged. So I think going there blindly and hoping things will just happen will be a problem. And also for whoever is going to be trained, I think with the lawyers that you were talking about and the knowledge of practitioners like Jason and Doc can help us to say, can we legally do it as a national body and train people and give certification, and then specify within the differences between the missionaries and those who can practice and what can be done, and give certification. So in case anything goes wrong, there is something to show that this person has been trained or has been certified and can operate under certain guidelines. And also for everyone to maintain or make sure that they have certain guidelines. And the consent issue, I think, is a key one. So if to protect everyone, I think maybe also the legal minds can help to draft something that will be a guideline for the practitioners and can be put up in a wall or wherever that they are, to show that these are the parameters within which they can operate. And then for the clients that they are going to be seeing, for them to have a consent form as well, which clarifies the practitioner's limitations and that the client is fully in compliance or fully aware of what can be done or whatever. I think if we can work along those things, it might maybe ease the issue. And I think this is a key one, because if we don't do it well, the whole thing can just be closed down on legalities.
Exactly. Thanks for that. I think, as I said, we just need to give it to the legal minds within our church and the people that we know, that just to assist us with the legal framework on how we're supposed to operate. And then perhaps I got down quite quickly. As I said, maybe we need to talk about this organization. How do we then organize ourselves as this body or as these people that are running this medical missionary in South Africa. And then what are the sort of things that we need to do to ensure that we're set up like that? Before we talk in detail on how and what to train and so on. Yes, I know we don't have time, but now if we are not properly organized, it's easy to take to our wheels to be off quickly, because we are not organized, and Satan can just attack one of us and one or two of us, and it scares the others. Then nothing moves. Okay, Phala.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Great. I don't know if we are aware, but there's an organization that's it's called IPASA. It's an Ethno-Medicine Practitioners Association of South Africa. So when you get registered in this organization or association, they register you as a traditional health practitioner. You do not have to be a Sangoma to be in this organization. There are a lot of people that are on it who are live blood analysts, who practice natural health medicine, and you don't have to go through the rituals of being a Sangoma or whatever. So maybe we can take a look at that one as well. If there's more information about this, I will gladly share it with you. But it's a very good organization. Let's look into that as well. You get certified, you get registered, you get a certificate. You do work even when there is COVID or lockdowns rather. So yeah, it's a very good organization. The certification is like for a year, and then you get certified again, or you get a certificate for the following year like that. So it's not like 10 years, you don't get registered for 10 years, you get registered yearly. So I was just suggesting that maybe we can look into that as well. It's called IPASA, Ethno-Medicine Practitioners Association of South Africa. Thank you.
IPASA is I.
No, it's EP. Sorry, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
It's EPASA.
SA. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's not linked to any religious body and something like that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
It's about anyone who's practicing natural medicine, who's not necessarily a medical doctor, but it caters for all those people.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Edward.
Yes. I'm loving this. I'm loving this because there are so many ideas that are coming in. I'm just going to be giving my own experience because, as I said, I was trained, and then there was a period where we encountered these situations. And there was a situation at there's a hospital next to Steve Biko. We have a hospital ministry in our church, Sunnyside. So we usually on Sabbath afternoons we go there, and then we see patients. We're welcomed by the doctors to pray for them, to talk to them. But there was this one lady who had cancer, and the doctor, when he saw us, he came and said, no one has ever visited this lady. I was hoping to see someone. And then he basically told us that this lady, there's nothing they can do for her. She's got cancer. We must do something with that lady. And then we started a process where we started looking for hospices all over Pretoria, Joburg. We started going around looking for hospices, but the challenge was that all the hospices that were charging a lot of money for her to go in, she had to have a lot of money. But there was this guy who opened a hospice free of charge. It's somewhere, it's in After Blood Mall there. There's a hospice that was opened by this other guy, and it's free of charge. He takes in people, but the problem, there's a long waiting list for people to go in there. So these are patients. There were many patients who were waiting to go there because the doctors had said the only thing we can do for this person is to give them pain medication were no longer putting them on treatment. She was a stage 5 cancer. That's what he told us. So as time went on, that person was able to be moved to that hospice for free. So when she was at that hospice, the owners of the hospice also told us, guys, this person, a hospice is just a place for people to come and spend their last days here. So whatever you guys can do for her, please do. So they were open. They were not like restricting us, or they were not telling us any. They were just saying this person has been declared by the doctors to say there's nothing they can do for her. So she lived her last days there. When she was there before the lockdown, like it was 6 months before the lockdown, we were able to attend to her, to give her the foods that she needs, the 8 glasses of water, all those things that we could do that for her at that place, because the hospice understood that there was nothing else that could be done for her. But when the lockdown happened, we were not allowed to visit the hospices because of the risk of the COVID. And after that, like 2 months into the lockdown, she passed away. But what I'm trying to highlight is that there's another option, or maybe we should look into it, of the hospice option, because it seems that guy opened the hospice, he's accredited, he hired nurses to operate that place, but he had the freedom to help people without all the restrictions. So I'm just adding the option of a hospice to be explored, so that we see if it is an option that we can look into also to help people. I know it will require money to buy the place and to have the facilities to house people, but it is an option that we can look into maybe as time goes on. Also, if there's someone with a place who can offer it up to, and then we can register as an hospice. It's another option that I'm adding.
Yeah. I see we are talking about, or we sort of mixing two things, the one of health centers and the one of training. Maybe eventually we'll need to maybe separate them to ensure that we know what are the requirements for the hospice, for the centers to open up the centers, and then what are the requirements to open up or to start with the training. Maybe we need eventually to separate the two, because yes, eventually we will have a body that is addressing both the training and also having medical centers, whatever you call it. Maybe you call it hospice, where people have actually given up, and then those people are sent to us to actually assist them. So meaning there is options, but I think we need the legal minds to assist us and maybe give us these options and give us the detail behind them. What are the options that we have? And then what are the details? What are the pros and cons on each and every one of these options? Maybe that will assist us. I will ask one of my friends to actually help us with that, who owns a practice. Okay, Jason?
Hi, once again. Yes, my brother, thank you very much. As you can see, Mr. Yapi, this is definitely a gap in the whole thing. This incentive that you had to bring this to start this conversation, you can see that it's definitely a big thing and a necessary thing. So I want to just say no, thanks again for that. You know, as we're talking about legalities, the legal framework is very important. Very important. I think we're stuck here now because we're seeing how important it is for operation, especially not just operation of center, for training, how essential it is for training. With the young lady, I don't know who she was, but she mentioned the arm, because you see, this is what I was saying when I mentioned that we need to do a proper training in regards to it. Immediately, when you hear traditional, your mind is putting everything and jumbling up in one. No, you need to understand within and underneath that umbrella, there is different department and how they work. Okay, as the lady has brought out. If you go and read it up online, you will see that it's not all jumbled up. It's not that, oh, you all have to do this rituals and that. No, it's not that. But because we have not been able, or we have not taken time to unpack it, so we can put it into our training manual. So when somebody has done a training with us for 6 weeks or for 1 month, we are able to, and if we do it in a good way, Mr. Yapi, if we do it in a very clever way and a very structured way, perhaps we can even have a conversation directly with IPASA directly, and they might even, especially if it's going to be a regular ongoing training that we offer, I'm sure because of the nature of how they operate and why they were set in place for this aspect of the work under the Traditional Health Association, they will be able to have a conversation with you. You don't know. Maybe you can have a special stamp on your training that allowed them to be able, when somebody is sick and they got diabetes, you're able to tell them, look, no, yes, you're on the doctor's medication, but taking chromium and taking vanadium is not going to affect it, but rather it's going to enhance. But as you do so, please get checked by your doctor to make sure you're coming right as you do the dietary change and the lifestyle change. And if you are able to do that in a legal framework, then you got something. The days is coming. We must remember, we can't just talk about legalities here. We got to talk legalities in regards to where we are in time, in this earth history. You know, the work is going to become more and more difficult. And what we fail to do in the time of peace, we're going to have to do it when the fire is hot. We need to understand that the health work does not stop at talking. It doesn't stop there. It's not about evangelism alone. It's not about telling you drink 8 water and make sure you sleep 8 hours. No, me and Kamoso, we work here with people who are sick. When they come into that space, some of them can't drink 8 glasses of water. Furthermore, some of them can't sleep. Some of them can't eat. What do? You cannot tell them what to do. You're going to have to do something for them. And when you do that, you need to be under a legal setting. You have to have a legal framework. You know, and that's what we're saying. The work from here on, guys, the medical missionary work, I'm telling you now, it is not going to be about standing up in a nice black suit and tie and talking and telling people with eloquent words how to look after themselves in the name of diseases. No, it's going to be rolling up your sleeve and saying, hey, I need to do this for you. That's what that's going to be.
Okay. Yeah. I think it was a very, very important discussion that we needed to start with. It also then highlights or for instance, I talked about training, I talked about centers and all that, but I think the first thing that we need to talk about, maybe in my thinking, is that organization. Then how and when and what are the challenges that we're going to find? We'll find them in the way, obviously. Now we've going to have a much more broader body. It's not only one person now. We are united. We go to different, like now already we've got many options to actually deal with these challenges that we have, legal challenges. And then it looks like we can, in a nutshell, we can operate. There's different ways and means that we can be able to operate. So that then we can leave it to the doctors to give us the option, not doctors, to the legal minds, to give us the options and the best options that we can be able to operate under, given our type of work, given what we want to do. I think it was an important one, but let's have that in mind, that we want to ensure that things are moving. Yes, it's good to highlight things that can stop us, but whether they are here or not, our way, our plan is to ensure that we go on and we move forward according to what we are told to do. We will skip whatever challenges that we meet, we'll meet them in prayer, but ours is to ensure that we move forward. Yes, there will be challenges, and I don't want us to magnify them, yes, and also I don't want us to ignore them so that we get surprised when we hit by them. But there's nothing that is going to be able to stop us. We are to ensure that we move forward. And maybe, as I said, maybe we need to start with that organization. How do you see it operating? Number one, how do we organize and all that? Gopala, sorry.
Yes, no, just a short comment. Yeah, just saying that when you have registered with IPASA, you can prescribe medication, natural medicine, obviously, because they call it traditional health. You become a traditional health practitioner. So in this case, you are able to prescribe. You see a lot of people who come. You know what's happening now? People are being they're being woke, if I can use that word, to natural healing. So a lot of people do come to people who are ethno medicine practitioners. So they do come and they do prescribe natural medicine, for example, like things like your, I don't know, milk thistle, dandelion, your NACs, so anything that is natural, they do prescribe. You will not get into trouble because you are protected. They do prescribe, they give them the health message as well. So you have a lot of people who do this, and you do actually prescribe medicine. So if there was one route that we can look at and we need to look at is the IPASA route. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, as I said, then maybe, as I said, maybe, I don't know, I might be wrong. Maybe somebody would want to bring something first, but I think let's talk about this organization thing. Maybe so that at least when we close this meeting, we know what we're going, what is the direction, how do we organize, and maybe let's talk about the challenges around the organization. Is there anything that is stopping us, or how do we organize first of all? Is it a good thing to organize formally and have a website, a central website where everybody can have some sort of access to whatever that we are providing, or is it a good thing that we leave things as they are and then maybe organize the other way? I don't know. I'm putting it to the meeting to say, what do we do? Because it's not like people have not been working. People have been working, but the impact is very, very minimal. How do we ensure that whatever that we are offering as Advent here on medical missionary is out there to the people? Currently, the people are ready to receive vaccines because there's no alternative. The conventional medicine is pushing the vaccines to the people, whether they like it or not, because there's nothing else. You get sick, they get scared, they run to the conventional way, and we don't know how safe is that and how morally correct will be those vaccines. And obviously, ours is not to fight vaccines, it's to come up with alternatives. That's it. So do we organize or not organize? If we do, how? I think that's a critical one. Otherwise, the other stuff, on how to do the training and all that. That is easy. That is easy. But the critical one is, how do we organize? Do we organize? How? Is it a good thing to organize to ensure that we've got a united body or united people that are able to actually do the work, though independent? Because organization is not necessarily meaning that now there's going to be a reporting line of whatever ministry that you're doing is going to report to somebody or something like that. We are all independent but organized. Okay, Edward?
I say we organize, my elder. We most importantly, we organize as a non-profit organization that will also protect the organization from any tax implications, because the moment you register a normal company, then you are expected to register for tax and all those things. But in South Africa, I think NPOs are not really obligated to do that, but they are an official legal organization. Then from there, that's where we can approach organizations like IPASA and tell them that we are an NPO. We want to help people using herbs and all those treatments, and then what is their requirements. But I say we organize as a non-profit organization.
Okay, thank you very much. Louisa?
Well, I personally don't think we should organize just as yet. That takes quite a lot of work, but I like us meeting on this platform to share ideas. I really must thank what's her name? Kapala, for what you have brought out through, because do you understand that just tonight, if a lot of medical missionaries who are trained, because I know some who are very capable, could just register with IPASA, which is governed by the Traditional Healers Act, by the way, then they would be able to confidently start practicing as of tomorrow. I don't think we should organize. I think we should meet and share ideas because we'll be working independently. But if we do organize, I don't think we should go, I don't think we should organize according to the constitutions of the country. I see that we have some legal people here, so they can advise. I think the best way to organize is with what do you call it? Yes, you can literally draft your own constitution. Because when you organize you organize according to the constitution of the country, I have a challenge with that. I don't remember what it's called. I just need to look up for it. Where you can start an organization, but you draft your own constitution, and that is what governs you. You're not governed by the constitution per se you're governed by the constitution of the country indirectly. But I think it's called an unorganized. I'll look for the name. I think you can do that. A lot of there are some organizations and even some social clubs that use that model, where people with a common interest come together and they create their own constitution as to how they will be governed, and they create their own rules. And because it is a religious organization, you can still get some of the tax benefits. But obviously the members, I think, stand, they have to stand as you know, responsible for the organization, which as Christians, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. But we can have a look at those options. Yeah. But for now, I'm happy with meeting on this platform to just share ideas, and I think and share experiences where the challenges we have seen. And especially, I say, register so that even when the lockdown comes, you're not shut down. Like our friend was saying that they couldn't go to the hospices anymore. When the lockdown was there, we could continue operating. And that's what we need to be able to do. We need to be able to go into people's homes and one way or another, so that we can deliver the health message. But us, as we deliver the health message, will deliver the truth, which is the gospel that goes with it. So you'll be able to take the literature with you and have Bible studies in their homes. if that's necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard you, Edward, when you say we can organize via the MPO. The challenge is that a lot of people already have their own organization as we speak. So to organize in that level could be limiting, but to have a committee or something like that, a body that actually looks at all these organizations and that has some sort of overarching, not controlling, but overarching, where a central body where everybody that needs something can go to have that sort of coordinated effort, not on the management controlling sort of way, but as a body, as a corporate body, or as a committee that is registered. I don't know whether you can register a group of companies, not a committee, a body, or whatever it is. I don't know whether you can register something like that. That actually assists. I think basically is what IPASA is, if I'm not mistaken. But a corporate body that actually house a number of organizations, not independent organization, not necessarily now they're gonna, in terms of management, they report under this body, no, but just a corporate body that is in a way ensuring that these organizations are working together to achieve the goal. Otherwise, independent, yes, it has been working so far, but unfortunately, I don't think we can move and finish the work working as independent items. We need a body, we need that unity that will assist us to ensure that we move forward. Louisa?
Hello, Mr. Yap?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Jason speaking again. Look, I don't have nothing against our organization. I'm with you. I understand it. You know, I think it would be a good thing, especially as we are ourselves a center, as you said. A lot of them not known, but I can see the benefits. I don't know how far and how the operation of this organization will look like. Hence why I think we should, it's a good idea what Dr. Louisa is saying. We should discuss and let it be a platform where we develop. But it would be good to have an organization or a system that all the different practices, sanitariums and centers, and people who have been trained and registered to be on. So there's a system for people to go in, type this website in, and check a database, see who is who, see where they are, and so on. I think that would work. If that's what that organization is. If it's an organization that's going to be dictatorial and saying, look, you can't do this or you can't do that, then that might create a problem. But if it's an organization that says, no, according to the laws of the country and the constitution of the country, look, you can come on our database. I think that's a good organization. That would be great.
I think that was my idea when I was thinking about organization. I'm not sure. Hence, I brought it up to ensure that, because I mean, already organization as we speak, but now they are independent, working alone. How do we ensure that we have this central sort of database where everybody can be accessed and found? Louisa, your hand was up. I'm not sure whether you are able to speak now.
No, I had forgotten to lower my hand. It's fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Jason.
That was a mistake. Sorry, Mr. Sorry. Carry on.
Okay. Thank you very much. So in a nutshell, yes, I think we all agree that there should be some level of organization. Yes, it won't be a dictatorial, it won't control anybody. It's like a body that everybody actually has access to, and perhaps it has some committee members and so on, but it's not dictatorial where it controls what happens where and how. And obviously, that body, it needs to have obviously the rules where a person can be part of it, and at the same time can exit that body when he feels like it's no longer representing whatever that he wants to do with whatever that he's doing. So yeah, that is done. So how then do we, or what are the options that are there? Maybe that one also will give it to the lawyers to give us the options on how to organize. And obviously it won't be on a level of an NPO, but it will be on a level of a body that sort of not governs, but that sort of that the individual medical missionaries are subscribed to, basically. So that, as I said, we have that impact in South Africa at large. That was my thinking with this. So that maybe we can even have a collaboration in training, a collaboration in centers where you are struggling here and there. Then we can call in maybe one of the medical doctors that has been working for quite some time in Pietermaritzburg, and you are in PE. Then you can get an assistance to those from those guys to assist, and we share the information. So I think then that is agreed on. So on the next meeting, if there's no objections on the next meeting, I would have contacted the lawyer. Is there any lawyer here that can guide us on how we can organize in the way that we want to organize as a body, with a committee that is actually overseeing? I heard you, Jason, talking about the lawyer that is online.
Yes, I'm saying don't worry. We'll contact them afterwards, if anything.
Okay, yeah. I have a couple of guys also. Maybe we can have a follow-up meeting, whether it's next week, Sabbath or Friday, where we would have talked about now that issue of a lawyer. So that is the action plan. Number one is to give us the options on how to register. And then number two, options on organizations. Those things are on the action plan. When we meet again, maybe we'll have to give feedback on that. Can I give you the options on registration? Jason?
Say again. I didn't hear that.
Okay, the options of how to register, how to organize, basically.
Okay. I think. Look, the next meeting would be a good time to answer that. Let's look into it and see what we're trying
as
to
I'm
see.
saying is, do
Yeah.
an action plan that please investigate that and maybe contact the lawyers that you want to contact, so that they can give us an answer on that. How do we organize, what sort of bodies, type of bodies that are out there that we can organize ourselves into.
All right.
And then on my side, I will deal with the issue of was it legality?
May I comment?
Legality, that IPASA.
1 minute,
will-
1 minute, Mr. Yapi, 1 minute. Yeah, let this gentleman comment, because you asked for a lawyer and he's now going to comment. So give him a chance. Mr. Gasly? Yes. go
Mr.
ahead.
Yapi,
Yes, sir.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, wonderful. Good afternoon to you and everybody on the platform. I apologize, I
thank you.
came in late. My brother Jason sent me a message and I saw it late, so I was not in the meeting from the beginning. I practice as an advocate and I get matters referred to me by attorneys. If I may perhaps comment on having lawyers provide direction, my comment would be the following. And I often advise my attorneys and clients that it may not be advisable to go to a legal person as step number one in the process of what you want to do. It's like going to the doctor and not really knowing why you are going to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, you have an idea of what is it that you want to achieve. You know, if you have a headache or whatever the situation is, you get to the doctor and you relate to the doctor why you are there. And then the doctor can then guide you, hopefully out of that situation. Same with going to a legal person. I would advise that perhaps as an organization or as a collective, we iron out first what is it that we want to do. You know, who are we, what do we want to do, what are the objectives, etc., etc. And once we have a clear understanding of who we are and what is it that we want to do, you know, objectives and the like, then we can approach the legal people and say, this is the dream that we have. What is the best way legally to achieve this dream? Because the legal people will not have your dream, and I don't think it's good to approach a legal person to formulate a dream for you. So I would say before approaching legal people about the best vehicle, the best way, etc., then it is better to first determine who we are, where we want to go and all that. And then the legal person will say, if you want to travel from Johannesburg, if you want to travel from Johannesburg to Cape Town, then you don't have to take the N1 to the Bight Bridge. You know, you can take the N1 South and hopefully it will get you to Cape Town safely. But if you're in Johannesburg and you don't really know where you want to get to, and then you ask the legal person, what is the best route to get there? Any route will get you anywhere. And so my advice is perhaps we hang 10 on approaching legal people, but we define who we are, where do we want to go, objectives, etc. And then the legal people will then look at the full picture and say, from a legal standpoint, these are the options. And then again, it's not the legal people who decide, because the legal people are just there to assist in establishing legal standards, maintaining order, resolving disputes and the like, you know. And so I would say that maybe approaching the legal people at this stage is putting the cart before the horse. And so I would caution against it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Thanks, Advocate, for that. I think that was much more needed. Remember, as I said, we've almost have zero experience around this. So we will need a lot of advice from various a number of people and various number of professionals to assist us to actually craft what we want to do, and then to advise us from the beginning. And I thank you, Jason, for inviting the advocate, so that we can be able to to be guided early on from the beginning before we make any mistake. Yeah, I think therefore I will investigate during the week the number of options that we might have, and put it to the people. But if we know as we speak, maybe we can discuss it, but discuss the number of options, or I bring the number of options that we want to bring to the table. We might organize how the organization would look like, basically. Is it a committee? Is it a corporate body? Is it yeah, basically that's what I will check on my site. What are the options that we have? And if there is anybody that has some knowledge on how we can organize, maybe I can give that to I think IPASA. I think you've got the knowledge of this IPASA organization already. So maybe you can give us some ideas.
And we're gonna find out somewhere. Yes. Yeah, Mr. Yap. Yeah, I think I like what my good friend advocate has said. Look, it's gonna be what I think what is crucial at this point, based on that little piece of clear information that it gives us, is look, we must be very clear on our objective and our mission. Once we need to really have that under lock, seeing what we are doing, how we're gonna do it, and why we're doing it. Well, once we're very clear on that, I think that will give us a good framework to build on. Once we're very clear on that, I as I said, I love the agenda is wonderful. I can see it's definitely touching a point and filling a gap. But I think we need to just make sure the framework of our mission, our objectives are very clear, very tight, very solid, and then we can build into that. Then we can then further take it onto a legal and see which way we go. That is a very sound piece of information. So if we'd do that. And I think this is a good little team. It's not a lot of numbers, so you're dealing with people who I tried to bring people. I can, I told you I was going to add a few folks, and I'm talking about the folks that I've brought in are people who are quality. It's not a quantity, but they're quality. So we don't have a big number, but you got people there who understand, who are passionate, and who know what they're doing within their respective fields. And they will be good. You have a good small number that you can really pack that framework of mission and objectives.
Okay. Then that it means, therefore, in a way, we agree that we need to investigate on how we organize. I think we can take it as a tick to say we've agreed that we're going to organize in some way. On how in detail we're going to organize, then we'll have to craft and maybe sit in a strategic sort of meeting where we decide now deliberately on how we're going to organize and what is our plan, what is our agenda, how we're going to operate, and so on. And I think I support that, but it will need time, a specific time. This one was just an introduction on what we're supposed to be doing. Now, let's then plan and sit down and at what type of organization do we want, and then what are the things that will be linked to that organization. What is it going to do? What are the benefits? For instance, we don't even know what are the benefits of having that organization. And then what are the benefits of not having an organization, or disadvantages of not having an organization? So I think, to me, let's agree on when do we sit down and decide on these things that we've stated. I think that's the first thing. Yes, I just started from the tail. I don't know where to start, but I started. Now at least we've got a direction to say, okay, let's organize. If we organize, then how will that organization look like? If we have it, and then what are the benefits? What are the things? What are the key things that we want this organization to do for us, that are lacking now? What will be the benefits, and so on? So I think if we agree on that, then we'll have to agree on the time and the date where we craft this organization as a collective, as people that, I mean, it's not like we invested very few people, but there are very few people that are interested in the health message. Some of them are struggling to even embrace it, because it's got so many things that are linked to it that you need to give up. So it's not easy. We're not going to have a whole lot of people in the Adventist Church joining this. It's going to be discouraging like this from the beginning, but when the work is done and people are starting to embrace it, especially those ones that won't know or didn't know this thing for quite some time, I expect a lot of embrace from those that don't know anything about the Adventist health, other than those that are inside already. So yeah, so let's then discuss on when to have this session, and then maybe we can close this meeting from there, because it's been there and we've been coming and we talked a lot, and it was a good thing that it was the first meeting that we talked. But now we need to have clear action plans on what to do when. And maybe we can even have, in the next meeting, then we can have a project plan to say, by then, by such and such a date, we would have achieved this and that and that. Then I'll be happy with that. So who is open? Because I mean, this thing is urgent, to tell the truth. As much as there's a lot of work that needs to be done, it's also very, very urgent that we start to move, because we're going to be required to work with the speed of a light. As we speak, people are dying. People have died already. It's not like we're talking something that is out there. We are already talking in an emergency situation. People are underground. We have buried one of our own, pastors and the elders, everybody that we thought they might not be affected by this. And we're not saying because they didn't embrace the health message, but yes, we are told by government that if your immune system is strong enough, you will be able to beat this. That's why not everybody's getting this 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 corona. How to improve your immune system is to ensure that you embrace health message. That's it. So and we haven't been embracing. I mean, we thought so far health message is vegetarianism and veganism only, and then we end there. People end there, and then we don't know that there's so much around the health message that is beyond the veganism and vegetarianism. Okay, so I think then let me just take, if there's no any other issue, let me just take the dates where we will be available. I think I would put in my mind the next Sunday. If Sunday is an issue, then I don't know. We can also try another Sabbath. I'm not sure. Yeah, depending on the agreement of the people. If they agree, when should we start and have maybe half a day in crafting this organization for us. Starting, I will go by line. There's about 10 people, 10 of us, 10 virgins. And then I'll go by line just to ask whether they are fine with Sunday or Saturday, or is it too soon? The coming Sunday, coming Saturday and Sunday, which is 27 and 28th of February. Asanda, your name came first in the list that I see here. First of all, do you agree that we should sit down and have this discussion? Then what is the suggested date between the two?
Sorry, let me just recap on the dates, meaning it is next weekend or the weekend after that?
Weekend. Next
Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
Just a half
Next,
a day.
Next weekend is good with me. Next weekend is fine, and I definitely agree that we should try to meet.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Next weekend, when? Sunday or Saturday?
I think Sunday will work better for me next week.
Okay. All right. And then thank you very much, Asanda. Mr. Edward, we are asking whether, I don't know whether you heard everything that I said, because I just saw you just join. We are asking whether we should organize, that's the first question. And secondly is when, are you available next weekend, Saturday or Sunday? Mr. Edward? Okay, Mr. Edward just left, so I don't know, maybe he's struggling with connection. Mr. Colin?
Hello everyone, I'm sure all of you can hear me. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you very faintly.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Thank you. I think for me, yes, we should organize. That's a good idea. And I really would support any dates, whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday, it's okay with me.
Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And then Mr. Jason. Mr. Jason, you are not audible. So Jason?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, I'm saying Sunday is fine. As we go on, what's going to happen? Because me and Kamoso work relatively close together. One of us will be there, or both of us will be there. So Sunday is fine. Or
Okay. Okay.
One of us will be there.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. Then I go to Louisa.
Yes, I think we should organize, especially so that we're able to give the other medical missionaries a kind of legal hub under which they can practice. I think we should then definitely do that, so that even when the lockdown comes, we will be able to advise them as to how they can continue with the work, and we can see how we organize trainings, even if it's in a coordinated effort. We could say, for those of you who are in the Northwest, there's somebody who's training there and all of that. Like Jason said, either day is fine. You guys will let us know, and then one of us will make sure that this day.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. And then can I go to the advocate, Nati?
My response will fall in line, Dr. Khumutso's response and Jason. But if I may perhaps just make a quick input regarding the length of the meeting itself. I may not be able to join you for half a day. And also maybe to advise that the meetings that we organize, it would be more official and we'll get more value if things do happen behind the scenes first. And then we come to meetings so that it's more output based as opposed to input based. Otherwise we'll waste a lot of time.
Okay. Okay, then. Thank you very much. I think that advice will be taken. Then the Rejoice.
Yeah, thank you. I agree that we need to be organized. That's the only way to make more impact, like I originally said as well. So I do agree. And yeah, I think also what the advocate has said, that maybe, I think you started it when you went into the last phase of saying who should do what, so that when we come, we have maybe have done a bit of background before, and maybe to just circulate the agenda in advance as well, so that people come prepared or would have done more research around what we will be discussing, so that the meetings also people come mentally prepared or having done their own homework prior to the meeting to just, Thank you. And then Sunday or Saturday for me, it's okay.
Okay, then. Thank you very much. Then the last one, not the last one, Vuisega. This Vuisega.
Okay. Thank you so much. Saturday or Sunday would be fine for me, either way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Then Khapala.
I'm sorry, are we meeting at a place or is it a Zoom meeting? Sorry, I wasn't around for the last part. Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude. So is it a place we're meeting in, or is it going to be like a Zoom meeting again?
Yeah, it will be for now a Zoom meeting, because I mean, we are all over the country, yes.
Yes, all right, cool. No, I'm fine with Sunday or Sabbath. It's not a problem with me. And definitely we need to organize. I'm for that idea as well.
Okay. All right. I think is there anybody that I missed? I don't think there's anybody I've missed. Thank you very much. I think, therefore, as I said, I'm just a chair. But the idea on how to organize this thing, I have absolutely zero. So I think, what do we need, therefore, to come prepared with? Maybe if I can get somebody to guide us on that, about what are the things that needs to be on Sunday? What are we gonna have to bring into the table for us to have a more efficient meeting than this one? What are the things that we need so that we can prepare in advance, so that when we come here, at least when we come to a meeting, then we're done. We will be done much quicker. What are the things that are critical? Mr. Jason, because your mic is on.
My mic is on. I can hear what you say.
Yes. What are the things? Is there anybody that has an idea on what are the critical things that we need to bring on Sunday, so that we need to research during the week, so that when we come Sunday, we are much clearer, and maybe we can communicate in between, so that Sunday we're much clear on what we've got a shorter meeting than the whole the half a day that we This is Rejoice and Louisa.
I think, like what we were talking about, for us to move ahead, we need to know, we've all agreed that we want to organize, but for us to then get guidance, which we wanted, is our second step. I think another step has been suggested, that we all agree, what do we mean by organizing? What are we looking at? What do we want this organization to be like? So the structure of the organization, the objectives, maybe the aim of this organization. I think that would then take us to the next phase of then approaching the legalities, which we have identified as a key thing that can block or open the way for us, all those people that have already been trained, to be able to practice. So the whole objective is for people to be trained or for people to practice. But for us to get there, there's a step before, which is, how do we get there? And that was the organizing. How do we organize so people can be able to do their work?
Yeah. So meaning, I'm just talking now about on Sunday. What are the things that we need to do? We therefore need to ensure that all of us have studied similar organizations from the country and the world, and then what are the legalities around them, and then so that when we start and we all agree, and then we come up with different types of organizations, and what are the advantages, and then what are the disadvantages on each. Then from there, after that presentation, then we can then decide that we are going with this one specifically, that will assist us. I mean, these are the objectives, and then we can take that, as Nati has said, Advocate Nati, we can take that to the lawyers to say, this is what we want our organization to look like. Therefore, help us, what are the type of organization that we need to register, or whatever that needs to be done.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So
yes, come in.
This is what I suggest, so we can get moving. Yeah. Because we're gonna. I see we're gonna close the meeting off, and then we're gonna meet. Look. There's no structure. This is a great idea. As I said, I believe it's very timely. You know, when I see what you said initially, what you would like to do. Now, Here's what I believe we should do, leaving here. You see, we want to have our aims, our objective and stuff. That's crucial. That's crucial. So we need to make sure that when we leave here, we are able to come up with that, at least minimum. That must be able to present itself next week from us. You got a small group of folks here that we're working with. I think the practical thing to do is to, if you're going to head this for now, Mr. Yapi, I think the practical thing to do is to get everybody here, create a WhatsApp group. Let's put the interim program in place. Create a WhatsApp group with everybody here on there, if they're willing to do so. Then work on those things. Throw it out there. We can be working in the background before the meeting, as Advocate says. So when we come, we're putting out. We're not going through all this. Create a WhatsApp group. You can start that today. Tomorrow morning, we must put the heading of aim, objective, whatever. Let people throw their ideas out. You got to monitor it. You got to monitor it. If you got somebody in this group that you have brought in who is close with you, you got to monitor it. And then you take the ideas from the WhatsApp group, and then we'll know what the objective is. Okay. So by that, just by working in the background with this WhatsApp group, by Sunday, we would have been clear on what our objectives and things, and that could be presented in the WhatsApp group even before Sunday. I'm saying this because, as you know, as you develop structures and organization, you're going to have different people sitting in different roles. But we don't have that now. But if we come up with the aim, objective, and everything of this group, it could then be presented. Then coming out to the next group, we going to need to find people within our small number. We don't need to expand the number yet. Within our small number, who is going to be able to be responsible for gathering this information and doing this work and doing this administrative aspect. So you have a system. But for now, create the WhatsApp group, put it out there. Let us all agree on what the aim is. Let us all agree on what the objective is. Let us all agree on what we're doing. Then next week, once we're good, we can then start putting people in charge. Then we are forming a structure. Then we can then have clear directive on how we're working. Then after we have done all of that, we can then seek legal advice on how we're going to establish things. But for now, let's create that framework and keep working throughout the week. Good incentive, good start. We don't need to stop and wait. We can work.
Yeah. Okay. That is a great idea. Can I have everybody's email address and perhaps the contacts? I don't know how to get those. Or maybe I think let me give my contacts.
Yeah.
So that maybe people can just write them down and then contact me, so that I can create that WhatsApp group. I think that's a best one. My cell phone
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you put your number now, Mr. Yapi, then we can all send it. And then what this would do is say certain people on the group don't necessarily want to be involved at this phase. At least those who get their number, you know who is in for this phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So put your number there. We'll send our information to you. You create the WhatsApp group.
Okay. My number, just if everybody has got a pen, my number is 073. I'll write it also on the chat. 073-889 4497. My email address is unathi, unathi.yapi at gmail.com. So I will also write it on the chat so that everybody can see the spelling. And then from there, I think we can close. If there's anything else from anybody, then we can pray and then close. Is there anything else that is pending for anybody?
Mr. Yapi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Let me just check. I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I want to just read this one statement because this is where I'm getting the gist of where you're coming from. It's taken from the book Testimony for the Church, Volume 7, page 62. It says, we have come to a time when every member of the church should take hold of the medical missionary work. The world is a laser house filled with victims of both physical and spiritual disease. Everywhere people are perishing for lack of the knowledge of truth that have been committed to us. The members of the church are in need of an awakening that they may realize their responsibility to impart these truths. We have seen the issue of COVID. You've seen the issue of COVID. It closed door of the church. The churches, I don't know if you're looking at it from a prophetic perspective, from inspiration, but look at what happened. Most of us here, we weren't able to even enter the church. The evangelistic arm of the church got closed down. This word from inspiration should give us clear indication of how the work. This is a warning. And that's why I'm saying this initiative that you have come up with, Mr. Yapi, is very important. It's very, very, very important because it is if once we do it right and once we do it in a way in line with what inspiration is saying we are supposed to do and how the work is going to, then it is going to be able to give people the confidence and the room to be able to evangelize using medical missionary work to spread the truth and to prepare them for the coming crisis that we know the real one is about to come. That's why the Lord has allowed us, I believe, this opportunity to see. And guess what? It is health that the Lord is saying, wake up, my people. Health is the door in which you are going to be able to go through with this. And that is what is so crucial about this. So I'm encouraging us to read Testimony for the Church, Volume 7, verse, page 62, and read the whole chapter. It's about the medical missionary work and the part that it's very crucial because when I came to South Africa, training medical missionaries. I trained them for the KwaZulu-Natal Free State Conference, 100, and also for the Northern Conference up there. I've been training them. But the truth of the matter is, Mr. Yapi, the people are not able to do the work. They're not able to do the work. The nature of the work that it's going to demand for, the people ain't equipped to do it. I'm not down putting nothing to do with 8 laws of health. I promote it, I use it, I teach it. Now, I'm not saying no, but the crisis that is at hand and the ones that is coming, I'm telling you now, it's not about telling people to drink water and spend time in sunshine. Furthermore, they're trying to block the sun anyway. So we need to be able to teach people how to do this thing practically in their home, how to get over their condition in a practical way. It's not about standing behind the pulpit and talking no more. And if this group that you're starting and this organization is going to help to equip people to be able to go out there in confidence, then I say, why not? We support it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. In that, then if there's nothing else, then I'll ask perhaps Rejoice to pray for us, or Louise. Rejoice, pray for us.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this opportunity to gather. We know that you're the one who orders our steps and that it is by you that this meeting has been ordained. We thank you that you are the one who grants us life and you grant us wisdom. We pray that as we go into our different spaces and spheres, that your Spirit may lead us to knowing the contributions that we need to do, and that you will guide us as we formulate this organization, and that with the truth that you have blessed your church with, we will be able to bring your saving grace and wisdom and knowledge on how to live better to your people that need it most. We thank you and we pray for each and every one of us as we go about and our families, that you keep your hand of protection on us. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Amen.
I think just to announce, please pray for this. And then if there's anybody that you feel like it needs to be added here and can add much value, please also invite that person. Maybe we can include him in this meeting. I mean, at this stage, we're still open for anybody to come also, especially those ones that are passionate, please. And let's ensure that we pray every day about this. I will contact you via WhatsApp so that we can start the discussion right away. Thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.